Hey, what's up guys, RevDMQ here. Hope you're having a good day. Got a quick video for you. I want to dig into this really quickly. I think this is an interesting video. I think it's important. I think it's worth looking into. I want to talk today about the way that Battlefield 2042 was meant to be played. And I'm not saying that this is how Battlefield has always been played. It's actually not. But I think it's pretty clear that Battlefield developers had a specific vision for what Battlefield 2042 was going to be and how it was supposed to be played. But before I jump into that, I want to give a quick word from our sponsor, and our sponsor this week is me, because I'm a very small YouTube creator. I don't actually have sponsors. I do all of this on my own time and I don't get paid, but I love to do it, so I do it anyway. And I have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers this year, and I'm at 851 maybe now. I'm barely away from my goal. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Help me hit that goal of 1,000 subscribers and share the video. That's a great way to support the channel. Now back to why you are watching this. I think that there was a specific way that Battlefield developers wanted us to play Battlefield 2042, and that is Hazard Zone. Yeah, you heard me right. I think Hazard Zone was the intended way that Battlefield developers wanted us to play the game. Truly, I think it's how they wanted all of us to play the game. I thought they wanted that to be the bread and the butter, and I think there are a couple reasons why. I think there are a few specific things that hint us to that. They don't come out and say that explicitly as developers. They never have. There's All Out Warfare, there's Hazard Zone, there's Portal. But I think Hazard Zone was what they expected to be the moneymaker for them, their bread and butter, the thing that everybody was going to latch onto, the thing that was going to be amazing. And I think that maybe one of the first reasons is we look at some of the specifics, the layout of the maps, the introduction of specialists, even the way that the menu is laid out. Hazard Zone is smack dab in the middle. They all point to the centrality of Hazard Zone as their intended bread and butter. The inclusion of 4-person rather than 5-person squads also makes sense for a battle royale / looter shooter type game. Personally, I think 5-person squads fit Conquest much better. Conquest and Breakthrough, they're all about strong team play, which is why 5-person squads are preferred. When you only have a 4-person squad, it's much more difficult to work together. It's much more difficult to push an objective with only a 4-person squad, and it's harder to find the spawns that you need to. When you have a 5-person squad, you can spawn in, get into the action, and work together as a team a little bit better than you can with 4-person squads. And I think 4-person squads make sense for BRs and for looter shooters. 5-person squads for a BR is just too many people in one squad. Besides all of that, I think one of the biggest things that point us to Hazard Zone being the central way to play the game is the pre-launch marketing. It directed players towards Hazard Zone being the most significant new mode for the game. 2042 launched with All Out Warfare, Portal, and Hazard Zone all at the same time, with Hazard Zone being the last of the experiences revealed. Maybe you remember last year. The official reveal trailer and gameplay trailer, they launched on June 13th. Almost exactly 1 year ago from the time I'm making this video, interestingly enough. And then 2 months after that, we got the official Portal trailer, which built that hype up just a little bit more, which was really cool to see the unique things they were building. And shortly after the Portal trailer, we got a peek into the Battlefield lore with the short film Exodus. And personally, I'd like to see more of this lore, more of the story, in order to keep us connected to the game. More short films, more podcasts, more opportunities in-game even to hear that story. But then, back to the reveal trailers, there was the open beta trailer before we finally got the Hazard Zone trailer on October 14th, 4 months after the official reveal trailer. The Specialists trailer dropped exactly 1 week after the Hazard Zone trailer on October 21st. The marketing, the trailers were such that Specialists and Hazard Zone were supposed to be, it seems to me, supposed to be put together. And that's what makes sense to me. The Specialists really only make sense in Hazard Zone and having a square piece that is the round hole of All Out Warfare, Conquest, and Breakthrough. But when you consider Hazard Zone, the Specialists, they just make sense with their different abilities, with their different traits, with their unique characters. It's almost like what we have in Apex Legends, right? Plus, not to mention, I think that Hazard Zone is the place for that story to be told. If they're gonna do the lore, if they're gonna do the experience of storytelling, I think Hazard Zone is the way to do it, especially if you don't have a single player included, which this game does not have a single player. The best place to tell the story of the world of 2042 is in Hazard Zone. It was built in order to tell the story. The data drives are a part of the lore, and these characters and their locations and the specific storytelling opportunities fit Hazard Zone so much better than Conquest or Breakthrough, and definitely Portal. But like, this is where the story needs to be told without a single player. And I think that it's where you could do in-game events. It's where you could have developments of the map that things are changing, like you see in other battle royales. And I think maybe that's what they intended it to be. But I'll get to the reasons why it might not have succeeded in just a moment. But I also think that more reasons why Hazard Zone is or was intended to be the staple of this title was that Battlefield is always known for its rock, paper, scissors experience. The franchise has historically these give and takes, these cat and mouse, this rock, paper, scissors experience. And it makes a lot of sense in Hazard Zone rather than Conquest or Breakthrough. Because when you think about how the game was initially developed, the rock, paper, scissors was more tailored to the specialists and their unique abilities and traits countering one another. That was the rock, paper, scissors, rather than the rock, paper, scissors with weapons and gadgets and vehicles. It was much more about the person and their trait and their characteristic rather than about all those other elements we're so stereotypically used to. But not to mention when it comes to that marketing, going back to that marketing piece just a moment, you remember all the graphics that had those lines coming down from falling from the sky. That is a nod to the data drives coming in. That's the story. That's what they wanted to tell. And that's what that's what I think they wanted us to look forward to. That's telling that story through their marketing. And I think that Hazard Zone did present a fresh take on the BR landscape. It wasn't exactly a battle royale with an ever-closing ring, and it wasn't really a fully fledged looter-shooter. There's some looting, and there is the element of the last squad standing, but it really stands as its own take on and in between these genres. And honestly, I think it could have worked, and potentially could still work. The question is, what went wrong? DICE, what happened? What happened? Why wasn't what appeared to be DICE's primary way to experience 2042 a success to date? Well, I think there are a few missteps, but I think they're significant. There's only a few of them, I think, but I think they're significant. First, I don't think there's any way that Hazard Zone could have been seen as a success without it being free to play. The game had to be free to play. I think that's the only way. There's no chance it could thrive behind a paywall. Not when you got Warzone, you got Fortnite, you got PUBG, you got The Cycle, you got Tetris, you got Tarkov. Every game has a battle royale right now, and they're all free to play except for Battlefield. This is what happened with Firestorm. And we're seeing it now with Hazard Zone. Another error was just kind of the overall poor launch of the game. The state of the game was really bad. There were serious bugs, serious game-breaking issues that just prevented people from enjoying any aspect of the game, let alone Hazard Zone. Finally, the ideas around Hazard Zone, I think, were all fresh. They were and are fresh, I think, and they're great, but the execution was left a bit lacking. I think there were some execution errors. There were too many drives at the beginning of the start of the round. That's one of the big errors, I think. Those drives were what were supposed to force players to engage with one another. Rather than a circle pushing you together, there was supposed to be this incentive that would draw you in, and that was these data drives. But there were too many. So you wouldn't engage with people for a long time because you could just go get your own drives that were far away from everyone else. And then you had to scan to know where the drives were, which meant that you couldn't take all of your gadgets or upgrades that you needed for a leg up in any fight. You were kind of left behind if you had to pull that drive scanner. Another execution was, and still is, the lack of reward for winning the round and the lack of risk if you don't win the round. There was very little disadvantage to losing, sometimes essential for a looter shooter. Plus, you rarely ended a round with that heart-pounding experience that you get in a BR, which is essential for a battle royale. So it was a great concept, but there were some errors with execution. And now, the last thing I want to add is that they recently updated the experience of Hazard Zone. It seems like we were told they weren't going to, but they did. And a few things that they changed that I think were super good for Hazard Zone was they removed the drives. They removed the amount of drives that drop, which means you make contact with enemies much more quickly. And they also removed the need to scan for drives. They just appear on your HUD automatically, which is unique because it adds an element of intensity, because when you're carrying the drives, everyone else in the game knows where you are. They can see you. And so you also then know where everyone else is as well. So if you're going to pick up a drive, it's going to be a person. You know you're going to get a person, and it's a much more unique gameplay. I think Hazard Zone plays well today, and I think it can be a whole lot of fun, as I hope this background video has been showing you, but it's probably too late for the mode to experience any significant revitalization. Unless, of course, they do the impossible, the unimaginable, the unthinkable, and they make the game free to play. Making Hazard Zone free to play would bring an injection of players to what I think was supposed to be their staple game mode, and it would bring an influx of players to Battlefield 2042, which would encourage them to then go and get the base game for All Out Warfare and Portal. I don't understand the rationale for not making it free to play. It would make the experience that much better, an injection of players, more people would want to jump in, and more people would be inclined to play the other modes in the game, especially if you marry the premium pass to it. So these are my thoughts. Hop in around a Hazard Zone and let me know what you think of the experience. If you like this video, please like the video. If you want to support the channel, the very best thing you could do is share this video. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 goal. Thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Grace and peace.